What is up, people? Today I'm dropping the deadlude H23 into the nudelude.
Parts guys.
So I'm gonna put on all the engine mounts and all that stuff and put the intermediate shaft on the back. I do have all the bolts and stuff lined up. I went through them earlier because I got a box of bolts from the from the one that I bought, and then all the old bolts, you know, I've got them strewn around all over the place. But I went around and found what ones could be used, and they don't all look great, as you can tell right there, but it's okay. They fit and it's gonna work just fine. So I'm gonna put all the mounts on. I did put the clutch line on here, and this is the old slave cylinder. I do intend on putting a new one on there before I actually get the car running, but I just put that on there so the clutch line is there, so I can put the one that's mounted on the body attached to this when I drop it in. But yeah, so I got to put the mounts in, I got to put the intermediate shaft on, but I'll do that after I've hoisted this in the air. I'm going to put these mounts on real quick while it's on the ground, and then we can pretty much be ready to drop it in. Now I'm going to reuse these old engine mounts because this one actually is pretty good. It's just rusted all the hell. I know I'll catch some slack because I didn't paint it, but I don't really think that matters much. So let's get the hardware started in there. These are 14 mils. Alright, so that guy's in place. Move on to this back mount. Jeez, people keep on honking. Keep on keeping on with that honking. What the f***? Alright guys, we'll get this mount on. Sorry, my biggest pet peeve in the world is people freaking honking. Especially when you pull up to a place. Like, why honk? You have cell phones. Almost everybody ever now has cell phones. We should just be calling people. That's just a tad bit ridiculous. And they're still going over there. So these are 17 mils. We'll get those on. Alright, so these cobwebs are an issue. I'm not going to pressure wash again right now. I'm just going to take the broom and say bye-bye cobwebs. We'll see you later. Goodbye. We'll clean that up a little bit. Alright, so before I put the back bracket on and the intermediate shaft, I'm actually going to take the hood off of the car just so I got plenty of room on there, because I'm going to actually put the back bracket and the intermediate shaft on while this is up in the air, just so it's nice and easy for me. So hopefully this goes pretty smooth. Should have this done and like at least in the car within the next like 45 minutes, I'd say. So let's get done. Alright, so we're gonna take this hood off. Okay, I gotta take this hood off. So let's go ahead and hold firm. Hey, let's go ahead and get this intermediate shaft put in here. Since I got this back bracket put on, got no reason why we can't put this in now. Trying to put the intermediate shaft in, I thought it was just being stubborn, and then I finally felt around in there, and from us welding the diff on this thing, there is slag. You can't see it, I don't know why I'm trying to show you, but there's slag built up in the splines over here that we totally missed. We didn't. If we would have taken care of it when it happened, it probably wouldn't be this bad. But I can't get the shaft in on this side because there's so much slag built up. I don't know if it's gonna work. So I mean, if I can't get it cleaned up enough to get a shaft in there, then honestly, I'm either gonna have to take that differential out of that trans or just swap that other trans on just to get it rolling down the road. Freaking bugs. But I don't know, we'll see when that happens. So this should be able to take care of what's left in there, because I did use the round file. I was able to get a little bit of that slag out, but for the slag that's like between the grooves, that I can't get with that round file. So that's what this needle file is for. Hopefully I can get that all cleaned up and we can get that freaking intermediate shaft in, because I want to get this thing in the car because we got bad weather coming. So alright people, it's been about a week and a half and I've tried everything I can think of, and what it's boiling down to is I just can't use that welded diff trans. I'm going to tell you why real quick. First, let me take you over here. You saw when I was last working on it, I was using the needle file while it was still attached to the motor. Well, I thought I wasn't getting enough leverage or angle at it, so I popped it off the motor. This is the welded diff trans here. So I was able to, with that needle file, clean up all the slag that was built up in there. So it's actually really smooth feeling in there. So there really shouldn't be an issue as to why that shaft isn't going in. But still, it seems to not even want to start on the splines. So what I did instead, instead of giving up, I had just been troubling on like a freaking, I don't know, like an idiot for the last week. I took this shaft and I grabbed my Dremel tool. This little flexible attachment is freaking awesome, honestly. Even though it's a pretty cheap tool and it kind of sucks, this attachment is pretty freaking sweet. So I took this little grinder bit here and I just, at a real slow speed, opened up each spline all the way around. Let's see if I can give you a look at it in the sun here. I don't know if you can actually see that, but all I did was just open the mouth of it up on each spline. So it just made it a little bit easier to line up on there. And even with that, it seemed like it wanted to start. So I took a block of wood and I tried tapping it in, and I just barely got it started in there. And that's when I really felt the true issue. So I popped it back out and it just felt like it was binding. So just to shoot the moon, I took this shaft and, you know, just make sure I didn't mess it up, I brought it over here, and this isn't even greased. So watch this, watch how easy that goes in. Boom, perfectly just into that differential. So, and obviously this is still the open diff, so there's plenty of slop in that spider gear for it to move around and allow this shaft to just slide in. On this one, that gear is welded, so there isn't enough slop to allow the shaft to actually go in there. So it doesn't matter how well I clean up those splines or grind down my shaft there, it's not going to go in true. And even if I can pound it all the way in there, the main concern at that point is with it binding there, that's a fail point. Instead of it breaking the axle out towards the wheel, it's going to break in the diff or in the trans, maybe even mess up the casing. Who knows? But that's just something we can't really deal with. So I got to get this trans ready, and I'm going to work on that real quick. And once I have that good to go, we'll get it put back on this motor, and we'll just drop it in the car and see how much further we can get today and go from there. I got that one ready to go. I'm about to put that on the motor. As you can see, the sun has pretty much gone to the setting point, so it has been a while. I'm just gonna throw this on real quick. We'll do that and then throw the intermediate shaft on while it's up in the air, and then we'll get that car under it. So now it's the moment of truth. I got that open diff trans attached to the motor. I got it up in the air. I'm gonna go ahead and put this frickin' shaft in, and it went in no problem before, so it shouldn't have any issues now. Let's just go ahead and give her some wiggles. There we are. That's how it should have went the first frickin' time. Hell yeah. That's where it should have been a week ago. Alright. Let's drop this thing in the car. But that back bracket should be lining up pretty close. I'm gonna try and lower it a little bit further down and get that bracket on in position and that bracket in position, and then get a bolt in somewhere, and then I'll put this mount on, and if I have to, I'll put my floor jack underneath and lift it up. But I should be able to get all the mounts in place, and then we'll pretty much be done for the night. Alright people, I'm calling it quits for the night. You seen I got it all mounted in. All the mounts are bolted on, so it is on its own in there. I got the actual cherry picker pulled away. Let me just get that out of there. So, no more use for that right now. We're all done. At least for how far I'm gonna get tonight. That's the end of this video. On the next one, I'll actually get it started, but I'm just gonna call it quits for now. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, do all that jazz, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Peace.